What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Bullpen. We keep getting such good, comments and reviews on these kind of episodes, and I tell you, we're going to keep doing these. Number one, it's a lot of fun for us to do these. Number two is if you guys like it so much, then we're going to continue with it. So let's roll. Today, you guys already know, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Josh on. He's going to be running the show today. Take it away, brother.
What's up, Pappy? How's your week going, man?
Dude, it's a lot, man. This is a crazy week.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
It's been a long week, dude. I feel like we got a lot done.
We've gotten a lot done. The launch of a new business coming out. Huge business. So, yeah.
Has it been officially announced yet?
Okay. Yeah. You don't get to know yet, people.
Yeah, dude, everything that it sounds like that's going to be a big
game changer,
not just for us as the company, but like people actually.
Yeah, other businesses. Yeah, it's going to be unheard of.
Yeah.
So
nice, dude. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Any fun plans? Any fun trips coming up for you and Kins? Or
me and Kins need actually, we're going to the Cowboys game. So it's
fun.
Probably Tom Brady's last year playing, right?
Yeah.
And he's playing at the Cowboys, and I love the Cowboys for September 11th. So naturally, we have to go to that, right? But yeah, no, we need to go on more trips because we've been just head in the sand, just working so long here. So we need to do a couple more.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta figure out a company trip too.
Yeah.
Go back to Toledo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, so the other day I put out a question on Jer's story to have some questions get put in, and we've got a few good ones. So let's just start off with number one. What is the hardest lesson you've learned in 2022 thus far? It is August, so halfway through the year.
Yeah. What's the hardest lesson I've learned? You know what? It's funny because whenever someone asks me a question, my mind immediately goes to like 7 answers, right? Yeah. Like you start thinking like this, right? Because it's really hard to pick one. But there's something that I learned that has changed everything for me is what's the first one that came, right? What's the first one that came to mind? Usually we have all these other answers on top of it because the first one's the hardest to talk about. We almost disregard it and try to come up with a better answer. But in all reality, the first answer is the one that your gut's telling you, that instinct, right?
I love that.
So the answer to that one is pretty simple. Stop making life easier on people. That has been a huge lesson that has hit me square between the eyes, especially this year. Is I used to, and you guys, anyone who's listened to me has heard I've talked about, I want to make people's lives easier, right? My goal has been, to make a change, make a difference, to help people to be great but nothing, right? This whole message that I'm about, right?
Yeah.
And something that has hit me square between the eyes over and over again this year is if you try to make someone else's life or job easier, you're neutering them, right? You are literally cutting off their legs. And this is what's fascinating because if you I'm obviously a Christian, I believe in God, and if you look at God, there's one thing that I believe drives a lot of people away from God is they talk about their suffering. And why, if God is a loving God, why would he allow this kind of suffering? And we have corrupted the idea of what love is. What true love really is not what society says it is. Because if we say, if you're loving, then you're kind, and you'll go above and beyond, and you'll make sure, you help them with their struggles. But how do you really help someone with their struggles? Do you take away the struggle? Or do you help them get stronger, get through that struggle so that they can handle the more struggles that are inevitably going to come? Right? This is talking about parenting. This is talking about business. When you try to make people's jobs easier, you spoil them, you neuter them, you take away any drive and any incentive they have to grow into that space. So especially as a business owner or as, I keep finding ways to make it easier for my salespeople to sell, or I keep trying to make it easier, for my team to perform. And I keep trying to find all these ways to make their jobs easier or even just make other people's lives easier, right? Just trying to find, okay, let me just, and I think with money, I can solve that problem. And in a lot of ways, you can solve that problem. Yeah. But what have you done when you do that? You have taken away the beautiful opportunity for them to grow and learn, to get better, right? Because you're not trying to make someone's job easier. You're trying to make it easier for them to grow into that position and become more talented. And if they become more talented and develop more skill sets, then they're worth a lot more money to you. And then you can pay them more money because they're worth more, right? So I need, like, this is one of the biggest lessons. I almost obsess over how can I make people's jobs easier? What can I do? When in reality, I need to allow people to struggle. And right, and I talk about love and how we corrupt this idea of love. And God never takes away your struggle. A lot of people pray to God saying, help me with this. And we think that means that he's going to come and make it easier. When in all reality, he will never do that, never has done that. He will sit back and let it happen to you. And because he knows what you're capable of and knows that because he truly loves you, he will allow you to grow. Right? If you and like we make everything so fucking soft and so easy in today's world. And I think obviously like helicopter parenting or whatever it is, when you try to make everything easy, what have you done to the child? You have made them soft for the rest of their life. They don't know how to handle hard things. And what you've done is you put them in a mean and nasty place. This world is brutal. And it will always be hard. It will be difficult to get through life. And if you take it away constantly, you're not always going to be there.
Yeah.
The best thing you could ever do is help someone see the power that they have inside themselves to solve their own problems. And that is, at the end of the day, really what my own message has been about, is to incentivize people to be that person, to see their own power, so that they realize that you are the one. Again, come back to the thing, no one's coming to save you because you are the hero of your own story, right? And I find myself not like learning the lesson of, I haven't even been doing that. I haven't even allowed other people to do that because I've had this mindset of make it easier, let's go faster, right? But one of the biggest lessons I'm still having to learn is how to step back, right? And let it get harder and let the hard happen, right? Because when you let the struggles happen, they either fall or they rise up. And if they rise up, then they're stronger and they're better off for it and they can handle more, right?
I feel like I talk a lot of shit about parents that are helicopter parents, but I feel like you've seen it firsthand now. Because I think it's multiple things. Like, you want the company to be effective,
right?
But then you also love. I feel like you truly love all of your people that work for you, and so you want to make it easier for them. It's like same thing with parents. They love their kids, and so they feel like, I just want to give them everything. It's like actually, the correct way to love somebody is by helping them, not by doing things for them, but by giving them the tools necessary, not, handing them the screwdriver instead of screwing it for them.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So, that's rough, dude.
That's rough. You know what's the hardest part about all that is once you've already done it, the second you start pulling back and you realize what you've done, you start pulling back, then they say, you don't love me anymore. I'm not shitting you. Then I start getting people hate my guts because you used to be there for me. You used to have my back. And I think about that verbiage a lot. I've thought about it because I've heard it a lot, I'm like, no, I still have your back. As a matter of fact, I have your back even more now because I believe in you and I'm allowing you to do this on your own. And you'll see, it's shocking. And I think that's one of the things that really has hit me square between the eyes, as well as the people in my life who have, stabbed me in the back and, you've seen it, right?
Oh yeah.
Those are the exact people that I try to make everything easier for.
Yeah.
And the second I stopped making it easier on them, stopped giving them the world, they were pissed. Like, why am I not being promoted? Like, why am I not being, on stage with you, right? Why am I not this? Like, I should be there with you. And it's like, man, I really messed up. I really messed up in thinking that was okay. And the second I pull back is the second you now think that I don't care about you anymore.
It's hard, dude, because it's that whole, like, when you raise, what is the saying? Like, when you raise other people's ships, like, or like all waters rise. Or whatever,
when the rising tides raise all ships.
Yeah, dude. And so it's hard because you want to help people, and that feels amazing. And like I think it was just it was Jason Hagen that was talking about how he's like, you could totally just not help anybody. Like, as with how successful you've been and stuff, you do not need to help anybody. But you do, because that's who you are. And you understand that like it's like giving back, you know. But it's weird. I don't know where that line is of innate or just doing it for them and then helping them.
Well, I mean, the line it's pretty simple, right? Is you should never do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
Right? In all reality, you never should do anything for anybody. I'm going to say this right now. I believe giving money to the homeless creates more homeless.
Oh, 100%.
And I know a lot of people are going to argue with me about that because a lot of people have argued with me about that. I refuse to give money to the homeless.
Yeah, same.
Because that's a grown-ass man or woman who's standing there, sitting there, fully capable of doing something. Yeah. But instead, they have resorted to the most basic and low-level thing you can do is stand there, sit there, and beg. Yeah. Over and over again, because they never go away. I've watched, like at the same corner, a homeless man get, I watch him, take $20 from one car, $10 from another car, whatever it is, right? And then he's back the next day.
Yeah.
So that money clearly is not helping him grow.
Yeah.
It's clearly just, well, I guess what's the word here is enabling him to stay there.
Oh yeah.
Right. The thing is, when you allow people to suffer, they're forced to change when you let them have their back up against the wall. Because here's the truth. You know my story, like with the whole thing with my dad, right? And what happened to me, and all that. I've thought about this a lot. My dad could have gone over there.
Yeah.
My dad could have gone over to that house and chewed him out and made things harder on those people if they didn't leave me alone. Sure. He could have done that. Sure. And I think he realized that, right? But I think he also realized the important lesson that if I don't learn to stand up for myself, then I'll never learn how to protect myself and stand up for others, right? So the act of him forcing me out of the house, what's funny, because when he forced me out of the house, I was pissed at him.
Yeah.
I remember thinking back at it, like, why would he do this to me? Doesn't he care about me? Doesn't he love me? As an 11-year-old kid, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I just got beat up. I have chocolate milk in my hair. I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm puking. Like, why is he making me do this? I did not understand. But to me, and I was like, no, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right. I'm thinking he's mean. Right. But looking back now, could have been that's probably the most loving act he's ever done for 100%. Me. I mean, well, actually, I take that back because he's done obviously so many loving things for me. Right. But it's the act of him teaching me and helping me grow. Right. So I don't think you should do anything for everybody unless they legitimately cannot do it for themselves.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. Actually, let me just say this. Is I keep saying I want to fight for the middle class here in America because the middle class is taken advantage of. The middle class in America, in my opinion, is the problem. And I'm going to say that right now. If you are the middle class in America, you are the problem. Number one, because you are considered the silent majority. And because we are silent, because you stay silent, that is the reason these things keep happening. So the silent majority is not a good thing. Yeah. Being in the silent majority is the reason we are in this predicament, because it's time for everyone to speak up and stand up. I have videos getting taken down left and right. That would not be the case if the silent majority actually spoke up. If the silent majority says we don't stand for TikTok, Instagram, not doing this, we're all going to go off that app. Yeah. All of a sudden, just like that, TikTok and Instagram loses not only millions of users, but they also lose the most powerful group in the world, the middle class. That's what people understand. The middle class rules this country. The middle class has all the power, all the money circulates through the middle class.
Oh, yeah.
And if all of a sudden all these apps lost it, they would lose their entire business. Disneyland would go out of business. Right? If you stop going to Disneyland because you don't endorse what Disney does anymore, Disneyland would quickly change their policies in order to benefit the people who actually pay them the money. Yep. Right? It's because we don't vote with our dollars, we don't speak up enough that these problems exist. Right? But as well, here's another thing. The middle class settles for enough to just take care of themselves. Right? When in reality, I keep thinking of, I want to help the middle class, No, I don't actually. You know who I want to help? I want to help the children who are being sold into slavery all across the world. Because I know for a fact that child is not in a position to help themselves. No. There are people who are not in a position to help themselves. They're under the thumb of North Korea or China. The two biggest tyrants in this world, North Korea and China, who literally have slaves all across their country, right? Children being sold into slavery all across the world. Yep. people who literally do not have an opportunity to actually make something happen.
Yeah.
So the people who have the opportunity to make something happen, the people who are blessed with that freedom still and the money to do it, who do nothing, that's the problem. Right? That's the problem, because, that's the thing is like, we want to give here. But in all reality, no, I don't actually. I want to stop giving to people who are fully capable.
Yeah.
If they're capable, don't give.
Yeah.
If they're incapable, give everything. Yeah. Right? If it's a child, if it's someone who's truly in need, that is your duty to stand up for, not the other side where someone who is fully capable of doing it on their own.
Yep.
Right? Fully capable of handling their own issues, and all they need to realize is just that you have the power to handle shit yourself. And if we did that, we wouldn't have these issues. Think about it. Would Disney, I know I keep saying this, would Disney really put out these policies and start changing their movies like this if we refused to watch them?
No.
If you don't endorse that, then why would they continue to put it out? If you were sick and tired of what's happening on Instagram and TikTok, or YouTube, or any of these social media apps where they censor your beliefs and what you do. And I think everyone listening to this can fully agree that there's censorship happening. I don't think that's up for debate. Right?
No, I don't think on either side of the aisle, nobody will debate that anymore.
No one will debate that. There's censorship, right? So what would happen if we stopped using those apps and they lost millions of users overnight? Their stock prices would plummet. They would lose tons of revenue. And they would have to pivot and change real quick in order to get back their users, right? Yeah. And I guarantee you, the world would be a lot different if the silent majority was not silent anymore.
Well, they only do it because they know they're like, oh, they like start testing the waters now, and they're like, oh, we can get away with this.
Yes.
And we know that the silent majority won't say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then they're like, oh, sweet, okay, here we go. And they start pushing it. But as soon as we just push back and we spoke up and the majority spoke up, game over, dude.
I don't think people realize the power that they have, especially the middle class.
Yeah.
If they understood the power they have in this country, these big corporations fully rely on the middle class going to work and circulating the money and then buying their products.
Oh, yeah.
So you vote. Here's the thing. If everyone realized this, by the way, I believe the election was rigged. And me saying that right here, right now, probably would get this video taken down. But you know what? Who cares, right? I believe the election was rigged. I think a lot of other people believe that same thing, right? I do not believe it was a fair election. And I look back at that and I say, you know what? If we want to make a change, we need to stop thinking about voting and the actual voting in those, with like the mail-in ballot bullshit that happened or whatever these, programs are. And we just thought along the lines of voting with our dollars. Because guess who funds these politicians? Politicians are not the ones in charge.
Yeah.
They're not. They're puppets. Yeah. The people in charge are the ones funding the politicians. If you want to really just see the votes, go see who donated to their campaigns and track the money. Follow the money. Everyone says that, right? So look at these big corporations and how they manipulate our politicians into pushing legislation that will benefit them. Now look at those big corporations and think to yourself, where does their money come from? People do not understand this. If you look at BlackRock, if you look at, Pfizer, if you look at any of these massive conglomerate, places, right? If we just had the courage to vote with our dollars, we would win.
Yeah.
Seriously. But because it's too inconvenient for us, because, I like YouTube and I like Disney because then I can just at least keep my kids occupied. Yeah. It's okay. I can at least just keep my kids occupied and just have Disney Plus and have YouTube just so it's because we have it so easy. Everything has been made so easy for us that in order to give up our inconvenience, things have to get really, really bad. Right? And they're already getting really bad. So I hope we wake up to that idea that things are getting bad and they're only going to get worse unless we take a stand. And the simplest way, start voting with your dollars. Yep. Start voting with your time. Delete those things if you don't like them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing is we all just wonder that's the answer.
Yeah.
Vote with your money.
Yeah.
And if you vote with your money, you'll be shocked at how much power the middle class actually has.
For sure.
So I know we just kind of went on a tangent there, but
I love it, dude.
One of the biggest lessons I learned.
Yeah, no, that's and I feel like maybe to circle back all the way to that is the government and the world, like the leaders of the world, these companies, they've made it easy for us,
Yeah.
for the people. And because of that, it's made us weak. It's made us easy to control because we just have everything handed to us, you know. And then people that are on welfare. I love that there is welfare, but it's been abused and it's been used. You know, like welfare is meant for people that truly are in a shitty situation.
Oh, I know people in my family actually, and you know, friends who are totally abusing welfare, and they know it.
Yeah.
How many people do? I think everyone watching this knows people who are abusing the welfare
yeah.
system. And, you know, we might sit back and say, like, oh, that's shitty of them. Yeah, it's shitty of them because that's literally your money.
Yeah.
Literally your money.
Yeah, I'm paying you to just sit on your
Yeah,
ass.
that's literally, oh, it's not your money. It's the tax, you know, like, oh, you think you're paying? Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
Where'd that fucking money come from?
Yeah, where do you think that comes from, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and people on the welfare system. And you know what? This is the movement that they're trying to push, is that they don't want us to own anything.
Yeah.
If you own nothing, you'll be happy, right? Yep. They don't want us to, know that we have power.
Yeah.
They want us to think that life will be easier if you just do what we say and don't worry about these things, right? Imagine, I wonder how many people would have the courage to say, hey, we'll actually just give you a check every single month if you just do these things. Don't worry about going into work. Don't worry about doing any things. You'll get a check from the government every month.
Oh, dude, so many people would jump on
I think
board.
a lot of people would take
Sadly, they would.
Yes, and that right there is the problem.
Well, I think we already saw it with COVID, dude.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people, there's a
It's still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening. People are still living off the government. They just don't really have to do anything.
Yeah.
And they actually would make less money going and getting a job. It's like that makes absolutely no sense.
Nope, that's right.
No sense.
Yeah. So
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Well, that was a fun question.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Question number 2. What is it that makes you want to wake up and kick ass every day?
I love that question. Sometimes I don't, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, that's the thing, man. Sometimes I don't. As a matter of fact, I think most of the time I don't like waking up.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's, I know people talk about this, like, I can't wake up in the morning and do what I do. Yeah. You know, I felt that way, you know, and I'm excited about some days, you know, but man,
Yeah.
I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm working. It's nonstop. Like when I wake up, I know what's about to happen today. I know I'm about to, you know, go through this. I know my mind's going to be drained. I know it, right? Yep. So what makes me want to wake up every morning and kick ass? I like this thing is like want to is an interesting thing, but I'll tell you honestly just what it is I truly have I know for a fact that I have this belief inside me that if I'm not doing something, then I'm a failure. If I sit back and I do nothing and I settle, I feel like I'm a failure. Like I feel like I'm a failure right now. You know, I felt like a failure like this whole time. Yeah. And all the growth of my thing, I get pissed off that it's not happening faster, that we're not doing more and more. And I constantly feel like a failure every single day because I'm not doing enough. Right? Because I'm not doing enough. Almost every morning I'm listening to music, and when I listen to music, I am deep in thought process, not only of, you know, what needs to happen or who I want to become, but deep in thought process of remembering what happened to me and what has happened to me. I really think that forgiving and forgetting is one of the most one of the worst things you could ever do. Yeah. I do believe in forgiveness, right? Forgiveness, yes. Forgetting, absolutely not. I don't know where that came from, or this idea that you should forget. You should never forget. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. I will never forget what I've gone through. I will never forget that feeling because it provides empathy for me every day to think that someone else out there is feeling that same way. Yeah. Right? And or not only that way, but worse, right? To think that there are people who deserve better and are being taken advantage of, right? Like literally just the idea of not pursuing what I want to pursue, not growing Alpha, or not growing any of these other businesses scares me a hell of a lot more than the risk of actually doing it, right? Because I'll never get that out of my head where my father's saying, if you don't, then you're a hypocrite. Because I do feel like a hypocrite if I don't do those things, right? And whether my businesses fail or not is out of the question. It's irrelevant because me staying still, not doing anything, to me is a lot worse than actually trying and doing something, and whether it succeeds or not is up to me, right?
Yeah.
But what gets me up in the morning is just the feeling of I'm failing. I'm failing. I'm not doing enough. And I'm okay with that. I think the people, and like, I think the psychologists and just these people saying like, what a negative, energy to be carrying every day. I'm like, says who?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, says who? Negative energy, feeling like I'm failing every day. Not because, and this feeling of I'm failing isn't I'm failing because I don't have, $100 million in the bank. It's a feeling of I'm failing because I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of. I know that I can make this difference. I know that I can help people. I know the feeling of when I've helped people. And why is it wrong for me to feel like I'm failing? Yeah. Because if I feel like I'm winning, then I sit here and I'm like, I feel like I'm fine. I don't need to do enough. I don't need to do any more, right? So I don't know where this whole thing comes from. And I believe it comes from people, in this comparison to others, and they say, don't compare yourself to others, take it easy, right? I know we've all heard that the idea of like, life's not that serious. Yeah. Just take it easy, relax. Yeah. Don't take yourself so seriously. I've actually heard that, that a lot of girls like a guy who doesn't take himself seriously.
Yeah.
I don't want a guy who doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
I'm like, that shows me that you can't handle a driven, hardworking man.
Mm-hmm. An alpha.
That's exactly. You can't handle an alpha male, right? Or alpha female either.
Yeah.
I like that my wife takes herself seriously, right?
Yeah,
I like that I take myself seriously. And you know what's funny is I think back to when, like in the dating days, there were a lot of girls who didn't want to be around me because I was boring to them.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wasn't the fun guy who didn't take life so seriously. It's all just out there and fun, travel, and, just whatever, right? Yeah. I'm like, what a selfish fucking way to live. Mm-hmm. You want someone who's not going to take life seriously? Do you have any serious this life really is? Yeah. You clearly don't. Yeah. Life is serious. Every day is serious. Do you have any idea what's on the line? Just to take it easy? Yeah. Who the fuck do you think you are? Yeah. I tell you what you are. You're an average son of a bitch who doesn't deserve the blessing to live in this country and have the freedom they deserve. If you really understood what is out there and what is coming for us, then you would never sit back and relax. Just go visit other countries. Go see how they live. Go see what it's like. Have a conversation or listen to someone like Yoon-Mi Park, right? Where she can describe exactly what that looks like when you take it easy and let someone else come in and take over. And I'm talking about this because that's exactly how they want you to feel. Yeah. Sit back, relax, take it easy. Life ain't that serious. The fucking ain't. Yeah. You clearly have no idea how valuable my life is. Yeah. You have no idea. Yeah. And you obviously don't know how valuable your life is either. Mm-hmm. So what a miserable way for you to live. To take life easy, you're the miserable one here. Because your parties, your travel, your loose lifestyle that you've created is empty. Mm-hmm. It's empty. It's worthless. Let me make sure that's clear. Your lifestyle of taking it easy, relaxing, and just quote unquote enjoying life is worthless. It could not be more worthless. To God and to those in need, you're worthless. And your pictures on Instagram don't mean shit. Right? It's this, again, when you do nothing, you are nothing. Oh, I'm just trying to spread good vibes. Fuck you. Enough with the good vibe bullshit. Because good vibes is your idea of just take it easy, relax, let's all sit on a beach. Good fucking luck. Yeah. Good luck, because there's only so much beach around there for everybody. Right? So we need to get out of this mentality and recognize how wrong that is. And I think if we really just lived our life with morals, standards, and principles, and again, lived our life with a religion, we'd understand that there's a higher power, there's a higher purpose to life than just existing. Sure. And if you think eating this good food, and by the way, I love eating good food, I love travel, I love all those things, but for a purpose, right? If you think that's life, just enjoy life and that's all, you do not take yourself or anything else seriously. So why should I take you seriously? Because at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, we know where you're going to be. You're going to be taking the easy road. Yeah. You're the one going to be taking the easy road, trying to put the flour in the gun and thinking that'll solve everything. right? You think love conquers all? I don't think you understand love. You don't understand love, and that's why you think that.
Yeah.
Because love conquers all. Love is a father who will fight tooth and nail to the death for his family, right? That's love. Love is a warrior fighting for his country, fighting for freedom and those around him. Yeah. That's love, right? This whole, sending good vibes and this movement hippie fucking shit could not be more of an evil way of being.
Oh yeah.
And I say evil because it's wolf in sheep's clothing. All this fluffiness that it's surrounded with, all this easy lifestyle, this happiness feeling. Happiness is empty without joy and fulfillment. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, if your only goal in life is to be happy, you're worthless. Because you should be seeking after joy and fulfillment. And if you understood who you are, at an eternal level, if you understood who you are, your joy and fulfillment would be in the act of doing more to help yourself and to help other people.
Yeah.
That is the act of joy and fulfillment, not happiness. Yeah. Right? I don't know. We keep going. I love these tangents, but
I love it, dude. I love it. That you've got to, like, with who we are, who we are at our core, who we are created by, we are eternal beings. That means, we are designed, and how we express our highest form and like how we bring about joy in our lives is by creating, by helping others, by like the family is a huge that's a whole nother can of worms. But we see the family getting torn apart in our country today, and we know for a fact, it is without a shadow of a doubt. Just the statistics alone show that families that have dinner and sit together, a family first off, and then that are like with each other and incorporate each other, those children are way less likely to get into gangs or drugs or whatever, and way more likely to just succeed in life in general. And that is 100% getting torn apart, and I think it's by design.
Yes, it is, no question.
But as who we are as human beings and as children of God, like that, we bring about our highest form of fulfillment and happiness by doing those things that God does. But in our world here.
I said it on the last podcast, and I'll say it till the day I die. The highest calling on this planet, in the universe, the highest calling you could ever achieve is to be a father or a mother. And how devalued has that become? We look at being a father and a mother as like, well, it's just a contract, it's not that, again, not that serious, right? And we almost treat, and especially in this country, because of the government assistance, we almost treat kids like they're a check from the government, because you get the more kids you have without a father, the more incentivized you are. Think about that. If you are a mother, the more kids you have, the more checks you get from the government, as long as you don't have a father in the house to provide. Why would we ever incentivize that? Right? So number one, the death of what it means to be a father is what led to this. And then secondly is then we can attack the mother and what it means to be a mother. Right? And that's really, if you think about it, what is the core of any civilization? It's the mothers. I want everyone to understand this. The core of any civilization, the core of any society and the morals and standards of that society is not taught by schools and is not taught by the religions. It's taught by the mothers. The mothers are the ones who teach the principles at the home, right? And the fathers protect that sacred household. That is the sacred nature of who we are. And I'm talking about this nature of being a father and a mother. So anyone who has a disagreement with that, turn off this podcast and fuck off, right? Because this is the truth. We're talking about the truth that a mother, at its most sacred form, is in charge of nurturing and growing the next generation, of bringing together society. Right? All civilization and all correct morals and principles come and stem from a strong mother. Do you know who, Leonidas, right? I talk about the Spartans a lot. Why did he choose 300? Those 300? Does anybody know the reason why?
feel like I don't, but I can't remember.
The if you don't know this, you need to look it up right now. Because by the way, there was a Spartan army of tens of thousands that Leonidas could have chosen from. He chose those 300 based on the mothers. If he knew the mothers were strong, then there was still hope for Sparta.
Wow.
That's how he chose his 300 who would be to die, because he knew that because they had strong mothers and wives, that the future of Sparta would still be strong, that there would still be Spartan men that would be raised.
Damn.
That's how he chose his 300. And so and if you look at the Spartan, they understood this principle that the mothers brought about the sacred nature of society and morals and principles, and it's the father's job to protect that sacredness. So if you can emasculate and neuter and devalue a father and make the men a bunch of pussies, then how much easier is it for you to then get to the mother?
Yeah.
If you can make the father really easy to get through, now you can get to the mother. And if you can devalue motherhood, now you get to the children. And now you control the rest of society, and you control what is being taught in schools. And look at what's being taught in schools. Yeah. Look at how this happened. It was the devaluing of the father, and now the attack on being a mother. And if you don't see how the attack on being a mother is in place, just take a look around at what's happening.
Yeah.
So the attack on motherhood, which then leads us to say, well, the only way we can't rely on fathers and mothers to raise their kids, so we need to do it in the schools. So schools become a priority. Someone else teaching our kids. And how easy is that when you have control over the curriculum to mold the minds of the children? There's a reason why I hate school.
Yeah.
I learned nothing in school. What I learned came from books and my father and my mother. I hate school.
Yeah.
And I believe we should get rid of the idea of school. The reason why we love school so much is because it's a place to send our kids to babysit, so we don't have to take the responsibility to raise them ourselves. Yeah. Oh, it's just a nice break to send the kids off to school while I sit home and relax. The fuck?
Yeah.
You think that's okay? To just sit home and relax? What, because your life's hard? Because life's tough and it's really hard to take care of kids? What the hell? What do you think life's about? And it comes back to that same idea of just trying to make life easier. And if we keep trying to make life easier, it leads to someone else solving our problems for us. And the message that I have for everyone is that no one else is coming to save you.
Yeah.
So you step up, you be the hero of your own story, you take on all the responsibility, and it's one of the hardest journeys anyone could ever do. And if we continue down this path, then we have no hope for the future. So how do we fight this? We reestablish what it means to be a man. And what it means to be a man, and then we reestablish what it means to be a mother and a woman, a strong woman. Because I don't here. Let me just say this really make sure I'm really understood. All these women out there who are over sexualizing themselves on Instagram, TikTok, whatever the fuck platform you're using, right? You could not be devaluing yourself anymore. And I know you think it's some form of empowering thing. You know what I think is empowering? Seeing a woman who is strong, who has morals and standards that she lives by. Holy hell. If I sit down with some real men and we talked about what would we dream of ours as our dream woman, it would be someone who is strong, someone who is capable, someone who, if I die, my kids are taken care of because I know she's got it. That's what wouldn't we love to have that be the queen of our kingdom, right? To be the one who is in charge of the household. That's what we want. Someone who knows how to serve. And yet now we're in this mindset and idea that, oh, that's not needed. This is this. That's exactly what they want us to think.
Yeah.
So reestablishing what it means to be a good man and a good woman, and hell, the fact that we even have to battle and ask ourselves what even is a man or a woman shows you how far off we are. Yeah. And that's why I'm calling on everybody who's in the silent majority, just sitting around hoping that someone else solves it. You're the problem because you're letting it happen. Yep. Stop voting with your dollars. Stop letting that be taught in your schools by either taking your kids out of the schools and stop funding those schools with your money, or demand change in those schools right here, right now. I think homeschool is the future.
Yeah.
Hell, if we have this shit on Zoom, courses and other things are the future. Because you can teach kids in home just as well now. You don't need to go to school anymore. God, I hate school, man. I will advocate for the rest of my life how I think school is worthless. I think it used to be valuable.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is anymore. I think schools should be whittled down to nothing more than trade schools.
Yeah.
Because I do want my doctor going to school.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah.
I want him to get trained in his field before he starts opening me up and doing surgery. But go to a trade school.
Yeah.
You really going to require 4 years of bullshit before then? Yeah. Oh, let's just make sure he understands the curriculum of, like political science. And that. The fuck you talking about?
How does that help him at all?
It doesn't help him at all. It just provides more funding for the school.
Yep.
If you make them take more classes and have more things, because you make it sound, now you just require them to take a certain amount of classes, which brings in a certain amount of revenue. Look at the business structure of a school. Very profitable.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy profitable.
Oh, yeah.
So if anyone wonders about that, just look at the money. Right?
Damn, dude. I love that point that you made about the men are the I've never viewed it that way, because it's always like the men are the protector and the providers, but it's like, but for like just for what purpose exactly? And it's always to protect the family. It's like, okay, that is valuable for sure. I understand that, but I love that you put it that way, that it is to protect the women that are the ones that are like truly the key holders. They are the key master of that sacred and like the standards and everything. I've never heard it put that way. That's really cool.
Oh, thanks. But let me say one more thing to that point, actually, is when you remove the masculine, I've heard, like when you remove the masculine, you remove the man, right? You remove any sense of protection. You know what you get? You get mama bear. You get like the feminine, and this is actually natural. If you study hormones and everything, when there's a lack of presence with masculinity, and femininity steps up and takes on the form of masculinity. So what do we start seeing? We start seeing a lot more, feminist movement of we don't need a man. Yeah. That mama bear mentality, right? And you know what? I can respect that, because that's kind of how it's supposed to be. Yeah. If the man dies, the woman steps up. I understand that. That's not wrong. Yeah. And you know what that is? If we see this feminist movement and women saying we don't need men, you know why they're saying that? It's because men have become weak. And they're probably right that they don't need these weak men.
Yeah.
They don't need weak men.
Yeah.
But they do need strong men. No one's going to deny that fact that this world needs more strong men. Yep. We don't need more weak men. Yep. Weak men are a menace to society. They're a leech. They provide no value. If you are a weak man, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, morally, throughout the standards of what makes a man, if you're a weak man, you're a menace to society. You're the worst thing that could ever happen to a country. By the way, if you want to talk nature, look at that weak male that just roams around trying to find a new pride. I'm talking lions, because there's a lion who has his pride, his family. You know what happens when another lion just is roaming around, some weak male that hasn't built his own pride, that has nothing to go for? He will kill that son of a bitch, because it's a leech on his pride, on his kingdom. Right? And it's a battle, constant battle for that. But there's nothing more powerful than creating structure in a world and universe of chaos. That's literally the point of humanity, is that we live in a universe of utter chaos. This world is utter chaos. Oh, yeah. And it comes down to men and women coming together with morals and principles to create structure. Yeah. And that's why we create. Why do we have this innate desire to build pyramids, to build buildings, to build religions, to create communities? Why are we so community driven? Is it for survival? Fuck no. It's for this innate desire of man's destiny to grow and build something and to create structure, to grow the human race and to raise up the next generation back to God. That is our destiny. That's who we are. That's why we crave freedom. That's why I say this over and over. I used to think about this over. Why don't we as human beings accept like slavery? Why is it almost impossible for us to accept someone else being our master? Yeah. Right? It's because we have something inside of us that has a purpose bigger than this life. So we'll never settle internally. The day you do settle for that, you've already died. You're already dead. Right? So we crave freedom, and we'll fight for freedom with all of our hearts, because we are beings of purpose. More than the animals and the trees, more than anything else. Yeah. We have purpose. Yeah. So live your purpose and stop fucking taking life so easy.
Yeah. It's not just, I feel like animals, it's survival.
Yes.
Survival.
Yeah.
And that part of that survival is like, having offspring and stuff.
Right.
But as human beings, it's more than just survival. It's
Yeah.
about evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like truly we have, as humans, we have evolved,
Right.
and we will continue to evolve.
Right.
And that's our purpose, is to continue to just grow and be better. So if all you're doing is just trying to survive
Yeah.
as a weak man,
Yeah.
you're just surviving.
Right.
Like, not much is going to happen. Not much is going to happen. And honestly, it's like the survival of the fittest, you
Yeah.
know, survival of the strongest, like that, those genes, it's kind of sad to say, but it's like those genes are going to die off.
Yeah, they are.
Because it is weak.
Yeah.
And it should be. Like, we don't want weak genes
Yeah.
in our society.
Yeah. Dude, I thought about this a lot. Here's how I know America will rebound one day. Because America is more than a country of kings and queens and monarchs, right? America is the only society that is truly built on an idea. That's not just one religion. It's not just built off of Judaism or Muslim or Buddhist, right? Or it's not built off of any sort of monarchy, or emperor of China. Fuck that shit, or whatever it is, right? It's not built off any of that.
Yeah.
America is an idea.
Yeah.
The American flag and America is an idea, and it's freedom. So the reason why I believe America will always survive, whether it's in this country or another country, is because human beings will always fight for freedom. And you know what else will always happen is the weak will die off, and they won't reproduce.
Yeah.
And what they will reproduce will be more weak.
Yeah.
And it won't last.
Yeah.
So if you, I hate to say this, but if you want to just wait out a couple generations,
Yeah.
let the weak ones weed themselves out.
Yeah.
Let them be weak.
Yeah.
If they're going to choose to be weak and they won't listen to us, let them, because they ain't going to last long. Shit will hit the fan. There will be wars. There will be problems, and they will not be able to protect themselves, and they chose that.
Yeah.
Right? So just wait it out.
Yeah.
Honestly, just wait it out and build your kingdom, and they will be by the wayside, and they'll call you, and they'll say, you're mean for not helping me.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not. You're a loser for not helping yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably a good spot to finish off for today.
Yeah, it was a good one.
That was a really good one, dude. I feel like that almost, they were like two separate questions, but there was definitely a theme today. It's nobody's coming to save you, as always.
That's right.
Don't make things easy on other people.
Yeah.
And as well as don't accept things to be easy for you.
Right.
Because there's been, I'll tell you, I know for a fact, I love my parents to death. They would honestly, they would give me so much money and pay for things if I asked.
Yeah.
And I know that my dad's told me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I refuse because I don't. It's so funny. I remember a few years ago, back maybe like 2015 was when I got my mission, I think. I literally remember praying and asking for struggles and asking for things to be hard because I knew that was what was going to shape me and make me a better person. I didn't want things to be easy. And I think if we want things to be easy, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I totally forgot about that till just now. But that theme, I feel like we've got a good theme here today.
Yeah.
Don't make things easy for yourself or for others. Don't accept things to be easy. Don't accept other people to do things for you.
Easy is the enemy.
Yep. All right, brother. Well,
love it.
that's another good one.
Well, let's tune in next week for the next one.
Yes, sir.